Vivashik Chitam Samaha Vivam Tvai Anititosti Nakamanipiti Nari Surya Namate Loka Adena Kamsavritaha Kamsti Uttibigachanti Hey Ke Chatna Hanotana Hey Ke Chatna Hanotana Hey Ke Chatna Hanotana Om Purnamada Purnat Purnat Purnachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishate Om Purnamada Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishate Om Purnamada Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishate Vajamana Hure Vajamana Hure Vinandanandana Vaye Dharanara Vindare Vajamana Vajamana Hure Sinandanandana Havaye Charanarabindare Vallabhamana Vajanamasa Sange Durlabhamana Vajanamasasange Tarahari Bhava Sindhure Tarahari Bhava Sindhure Vedana Jovana Putra Paridana Vedana Jovana Putra Paridana Iti Ki Achapara Titi De Vedana Jovana Putra Parijana Vedana Jovana Putra Parijana Iti Kyacha Parati Tire Iti Kyacha Adina Janmini Jagire Adini Janmini Jagire Vifale Sevenu Vipana Durajana Vifale Sevenu Vipana Durajana Chapala Sukalava Ladire Chapala Sukalava Ladire Vajamana Hure Vajamana Hure Srinandanandana Avaye Charanara Vindure Shavana Kirtana Smaranda Vandana Shavana Kirtana Smaranda Vandana Ada Sevana Dasare Ada Sevana Dasare Pujanna Sakti Janna Atmanai Vedana Pujanna Sakti Janna Atmani Vedana Govinda Dasani Re Govinda Dasa Vilasa Re Vajamana Hure Srinandanandana Avaye Charanara Vindare Vajamana Hure Vajamana Hure Srinandanandana Avaye Charanara Vindare Tulava Manava Janama Satsange Tulava Manava Janama Satsange Dharare Vava Sindhure Sadahri Vava Sindhure Vajamana Hure Vajamana Hure Srinandanandana Vaye Sharanara Vindore Vajamana Hure Vajamana Hare Shri Nandan Nandana Avaye Charanara Vindure. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya 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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya
other listeners online. They're gonna disturb. It is also stated by Lord Krishna that those who worship the demigods are not mature in their intelligence. The devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, because of their strong attachment from Him, do not foolishly go to demigods. Lord Krishna said to King Yudhishthira, my devotee is not deterred by any adverse conditions of life. He always remains firm and steady. Therefore, I give myself to him. I favor him so he can achieve the highest success in life. The mercy bestowed upon the tried devotee by the Supreme Personality is described as Brahman, which indicates that the greatness of the mercy can be compared only to all pervasive greatness. Brahman means unlimitedly great and unlimitedly expanding. That mercy is also described as Parama, for it has no comparison within this material world, and it is also called Sukshmam, very fine. The Lord's mercy upon the tried devotee is not only great and unlimitedly expansive, but but it is of finest quality of transcendental love between the devotee and the Lord. Such mercy is further described as Chinmatram, completely spiritual. The use of word matram indicates absolute spirituality with no tinge of material qualities. That mercy is also called Sat, eternal, and Anantakam, unlimited. Since the devotee of the Lord is awarded such unlimited spiritual benefit, they should worship the. Why should he worship the demigods? A devotee of Krishna does not worship Lord Shiva or Brahma or any other subordinate demigod. He completely devotes himself to the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami continued, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and including Lord Indra, Chandra, Varuna and others are apt to become very quickly satisfied and very quickly engaged by good and ill behavior of their devotees. But this is not so with Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. This means that any living entity within this material world, including the demigods, is conducted by the three modes of material nature, and therefore the qualities of ignorance and passion are very prominent within the material world. Those devotees who take blessings from the demigods are also infected with the material qualities, especially passion and ignorance. Lord Sri Krishna has therefore stated in the Bhagavad Gita that to take blessings from the demigod is less intelligent because when one takes benedictions from the demigod, the results of such benedictions are temporary. It is easy to get material opulence by worshipping the demigods, but the result is sometimes disastrous. As such, the benedictions derived from demigods are appreciated by the less intelligent class of men. Persons who derive benedictions from the demigods gradually become puffed up with the material opulence and neglectful of their benefactors. Sukadeva Goswami addressed King Parikshit thus, my dear king, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, the principal trio of material creation, are able to bless or to curse anyone. Of this trio, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva becomes very easily satisfied, and at the same time they become very easily angered. When they are satisfied, they give benedictions without any conditions, and when they are angry, they curse the devotee without any consideration. But Lord Vishnu is not like that. Lord Vishnu is very considerate. When, Whenever a devotee wants something from Vishnu, Lord Vishnu first of all considers whether such a benediction will ultimately be good for the devotee. Lord Vishnu never bestows any benedictions which will ultimately prove disastrous to the devotee. He is by his transcendental nature always merciful. Therefore, before giving any benedictions, he considers whether it will prove beneficial for the devotee. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always merciful, even when it appears that he has killed a demon, or even when he apparently becomes angry toward a devotee, his actions are always auspicious. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is therefore known as all good. Whatever he does is good. As far as benedictions given by the demigods like Lord Shiva, there is the following historical incident cited by the great sages. Once Lord Shiva, after giving benedictions, was named Vrikrasura, the son of Sakuni, was himself entrapped in a very dangerous position. Vrikrasura was searching after benediction and was trying to decide which of these three presiding deities to worship in order to get it. In the meantime, he happened to meet the great sage Narada and consulted with him as to whom he should approach to achieve quick results from this austerity. He inquired of the three deities, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, who is the most quickly satisfied. Narada could understand the plan of the demon and he advised him, "You better worship Lord Shiva, then you will quickly get the results." Lord Shiva is very quickly satisfied and very quickly dissatisfied. So you try to satisfy Lord Shiva. Narada also cited instances where demons like Ravana and Banasura were enriched with great opulence simply by satisfying Lord Shiva with prayers. Because the great sage Narada was always aware of the nature of the demon Vikrasura, he did not advise him to approach Vishnu or Lord Brahma. Persons such as Vikrasura, who are situated in the material mode of ignorance, cannot stick to the worship of Vishnu. After receiving instructions from Narada, the demon Vikrasura went to Kedarnatha. The pilgrimage of Kedarnatha still exists near Kashmir. It is almost always covered by snow, but for the part of the year, during the month of July, it is possible to see the GT, and the devotees go there to offer their respects. Kedarnath is for the devotee of Lord Shiva. According to the Vedic principle, when something is offered to the deities to eat, it is offered in a fire. Therefore, a fire sacrifice is necessary in all sorts of ceremonies. It is specifically stated in the Shastra that gods ought to be offered something to eat through the fire. The demon Vikrasura therefore went to Kedarnatha and ignited a sacrificial fire to please Lord Shiva. After igniting the fire in the name of Shiva, he began to offer his own flesh by cutting it from his body so as to please Lord Shiva. Here is an instance of worship in the mode of ignorance. In the Bhagavad Gita, different types of sacrifice are mentioned. Some sacrifices are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, and some are in the mode of ignorance. There are different kinds of tapasya and worship because there are different kinds of people within the world. But the ultimate tapasya, Krishna consciousness, is the topmost yoga and the topmost sacrifice. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, the topmost yoga is to think always of Lord Krishna within the heart, and the topmost sacrifice is to perform the Sankirtan Yajna. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the worshippers of demigods have lost their intelligence. As will be revealed later in the chapter, Vikrasura wanted to satisfy Lord Shiva for a third class materialistic objective, which was temporary and without real benefit. The asuras or persons within the mode of ignorance will accept such benedictions from the demigods. In complete contrast to the sacrifice in the modes of ignorance, the Archana Vidhi process of worshipping Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he accepts from his devotee even a little fruit, a flower, or some water which can be gathered by any persons, poor or rich. Of course, those who are rich are not expected to offer only a little water, a little piece of fruit, or a little leaf to the Lord. A rich man should offer according to his position, but if the devotee happens to be very poor man, the Lord will accept even the most meager offering. The worship of Lord Vishnu or Krishna is very simple and it can be executed by anyone in this world. But worship in the mode of ignorance or as executed by Vikrasura is not only very difficult and painful, but it is also a useless waste of time. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says that the worshippers of demigods are bereft of intelligence. Their process of worship is very difficult, and at the same time, the result obtained is flickering and temporary. Although Vikrasura continued his sacrifice for 6 days, he was nevertheless unable to personally see Lord Shiva, which was his objective. He wanted to see him face to face and ask him for benedictions. Here is another contrast between the demon and a devotee. A devotee is confident that whatever he offers to the deity in full devotion service is accepted by the Lord, but the demon wants to see his worshipful deity face to face so that he can directly take the benediction. A devotee, however, does not worship Vishnu or Lord Krishna for any benediction. Therefore, a devotee is called akama, or free of desire, and a non-devotee is called sarvakama, or desires of everything. On the 70th day, the demon Vikrasura decided that he should cut off his head and offer it to satisfy Lord Shiva. Thus, he took bath in a nearby lake and without drying his body and hair, he prepared to cut off his head. According to Vedic system, an animal which is to be offered as a sacrifice has to be bathed first, and when the animal is wet, he is sacrificed. When the demon was thus preparing to cut off his head, Lord Shiva became very compassionate. This compassionate, however, is a symptom of quality of goodness. Lord Shiva is called Trilinga. Therefore, his manifestation of nature of compassion is a sign of the quality of goodness. The compassion, however, is present in every living entity. The compassion of Lord Shiva was aroused because the demon was offering his flesh to the sacrificial fire. This is natural compassion. Even if a common man sees someone preparing to commit suicide, it is the duty to try to save him. He does automatically. There is no need to appeal to him. Therefore, when Lord Shiva appeared from the fire to check the demon from the suicide, it was not as a very great favor to him. The demon was saved from the committing suicide by the touch of Lord Shiva. His body injuries immediately healed and his body became as it was before. Then Lord Shiva told the demon, "My dear Vikrasura, you do not need to cut off your head. You can ask for me any benedictions you like, and I shall fulfill your desire. I do not know why you wanted to cut off your head to satisfy me. I become satisfied even by an offering of little water." Actually, according to Vedic process, the Shivalinga in the temple or the form of Lord Shiva in the temple is worshipped simply by offering Ganges water because it is said Lord Shiva is greatly satisfied with Ganges water when Ganges water is poured upon his head. Generally, devotees offer Ganges water and the leaves of the bilva tree, which are especially meant for offering to Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. The fruit of this tree also is offered to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva assured Vikrasura that he becomes satisfied by a very simple process of worship. Why then was he so anxious to cut off his head? And why was he taking so much pain by cutting his body to pieces, offering it in the fire. There was no need for such severe penance. Anyway, out of compassion and sympathy, Lord Shiva prepared to give him any benediction he liked. When the demon was offered this facility, Lord Shiva, he asked for very fearful and abominable benediction. The demon was very sinful, and sinful persons do not know what sort of benediction should be asked from the deity. Therefore, he asked Lord Shiva to be benedicted with such powers that as soon as he should touch anyone's head, immediately it should crack and the man would die. The demons are described in Bhagavad Gita as duskritanas or miscreants. Kriti means very meritorious, but when the thus is added, it means abominable. Instead of surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Duskritas worship different demigods in order to achieve abominable manifold benefits. Sometimes such demons are material scientists dis- dis- discover little weapons. They cannot show their meritorious powers by discovering something which can which can save man from death, but instead they discover weapons which accelerate the process of death. Because Lord Shiva is powerful enough to give any benediction, the demon could have asked for him something beneficial for human society, but for the personal interest, he asked that anyone whose head would be touched by his hand would at once die. Lord Shiva could understand the motive of the demon, and he was very sorry that he had assured him whatever benediction he liked. He would not withdraw his promise, but he was very sorry in his heart that he was to offer him a benediction so dangerous to human society. The demon was described as duskinas, miscreants, because although they have brain power and merit, the merit and brain power are used for abominable activities. Sometimes, for example, the materialist demons discover a lethal weapon. The scientific research for such a discovery certainly requires a very good brain, but instead of discovering something beneficial to the human society, they discover something to accelerate the death which is already assured to every man. Similarly, Vrikrasura, instead of asking Lord Shiva for something beneficial to human society, asked for something very dangerous to human society. Therefore, Lord Shiva felt very sorry within himself. Devotee of the personality of Godhead, however, never ask any benediction from Lord Shiva or Krishna, and even if they ask something from the Lord, it is not at all dangerous for human society. That is the difference between the demons and the demons, or the worshippers of the Lord Shiva and the worshippers of Lord Vishnu. While Sukadeva Goswami was narrating the history of Ugrasura, he addressed Maharaja Parikshit as Bharata, referring to King Parikshit's birth in a family of devotees. Maharaja Parikshit was saved by Lord Krishna while he was in the mother's womb. Similarly, he could have asked Lord Krishna to save him from the curse of the Brahmana, but he did not do so. The demon, however, wanted to become immortal by killing everyone with the touch of his hand. Lord Shiva could understand this, but because he had promised, he gave him the benediction. The demon, however, being very sinful, immediately decided that he would use the benediction to kill Lord Shiva and take away Gauri, Parvati, for his personal enjoyment. He immediately decided to place his hand on the head of Lord Shiva. Thus, Lord Shiva was put into an awkward position because he was endangered by his own benedictions to a devotee. This is also another instance of materialistic devotee misusing the power derived from the demigods. Without further deliberation, the demon Vrikrasura immediately approached Lord Shiva to place his hand on Lord Shiva's head. Lord Shiva was so afraid of him that his body trembled and he began to flee from the land to the sky and from the sky to other planets until he reached the limits of the universe above the higher planet system. Lord Shiva fled from one place to another, but the demon Vikrasura continued to chase him. The predominant deities of other planets such as Brahma and Indra and Chandra could not find any way to save Lord Shiva from the impending danger. Wherever Lord Shiva went, they remained silent. At last, Lord Shiva approached Lord Vishnu, who is situated within this universe in the planet known as Svetadipa. Svetadipa is a local Vaikuntha planet beyond the jurisdiction of the influence of the external energy. Lord Shiva in his all pervasive picture remain everywhere, but wherever he remains personally, he is the Vaikuntha atmosphere. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that Lord remains within the heart of all living entities. As such, Lord remains within the heart of many low-born living entities, but that does not mean that he is a low-born. Wherever he remains, he is transformed into Vaikuntha. So the planet within the universe known as Svetadipa is also Vaikuntha Loka. It is said in the Shastras that residential quarters within the forest are in the mode of goodness. Residential quarters in big cities, towns and villages are in the mode of passion, and residential quarters in an atmosphere wherein the indulgence in four sinful activities of illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling predominating are in the mode of ignorance. But residential quarters in the temple of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, are in Vaikuntha. It does not matter whether the temple is situated, but the temple itself, wherever it may be, is Vaikuntha. Similarly, the Svetadipa planet, although within the material jurisdiction, is Vaikuntha. Lord Shiva finally entered Svetadipa, Vaikuntha. In Svetadipa, they are great saintly persons who are completely freed from the envious nature of the material world and are beyond jurisdiction of the four principles of material activities, namely religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Anyone who enters into that Vaikuntha planet never comes back to this material world. Lord Narayana is celebrated as the lover of his devotees, and as soon as he understood that Lord Shiva was in danger, he appeared as a brahmachari and personally approached Lord Shiva to receive him from a distant place. The Lord appeared as a perfect brahmachari with a belt around his waist, sacred thread, deer skin, and brahmachari stick, and a rudra beads. Rudra beads are different from tulsi beads. Rudra beads are used to the body of the Lord Shiva. Dressed as a brahmachari, Lord Narayana stood before the Lord Shiva. The shining effulgence emanating from his body attracted not only Lord Shiva but also demon Vikrasura. Lord Narayana offered his respects and obeisances onto Vikrasura just to attract his sympathy and attention. Thus, checking the demon, the Lord addressed him as follows: My dear son of Sakuni, you appear to be very tired, as if coming from a very distant place. What is your purpose? Why you have come so far? I see that you are very tired and fatigued. So, I request you to take a little rest. You should not unnecessarily tire your body. Everyone greatly values his body because with this body only one can fulfill all the desires of one's mind. We should not therefore unnecessarily give trouble to this body. The brahmachari addressed Vikrasura as a son of Sekuni just to convince him that he was known to his father. Sekuni. Vikrasura then took the brahmachari to be someone known to his family, and therefore the brahmachari's sympathetic words appealed to him. Before the demon could argue, he had no time to take rest. The Lord began to inform him about the importance of the body, and the demon was convinced. Any man, especially a demon,